Tomorrow night, I'm gonna make this man pay with his life. You're dead in that octagon tomorrow night.
Every fighter needs a healthy dose of confidence, but too much of a good thing can sometimes be enough to throw even the most talented fighters off course. Here's what happens when the trash talk doesn't quite live up to the end result. And as always, if you guys enjoy this video, please be sure to let us know by giving it a like and hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing. Now, without further ado, and ranked in no particular order, here are 10 times Overconfidence backfired in MMA. Dominick Cruz versus Cody Garbrandt. Who can really blame Dominick Cruz for being as confident as he was in the lead up to his bout with Cody Garbrandt at UFC 207? Cruz was the greatest fighter the division had ever seen, something he confirmed with a historic victory over TJ Dillashaw to earn back his title. So when the rising contender Cody Garbrandt got a title shot out of nowhere without a top 5 victory, Cruz and the rest of us were quick to voice our doubts.
He's not in the top 5 of the division, and that's my job to go out there and prove it. This guy's been running his mouth a lot. It's my job to go out there and shut it for him and show him why he's nowhere near the level he thinks he is.
Sorry, man. I'm gonna have to embarrass you in front of a lot of people, so you can keep trying, but you're not ready.
Cruz had a major edge over Cody in the trash talking too, as his quick wit and wide vocabulary left Cody without much to say in response.
I believe that I'm gonna knock you out. I know that I'm gonna knock you out.
Pointing out a bunch of nothingness, a bunch of opinions that have no validity behind them. There's nothing behind that.
Nice word, nice word.
You don't even know what it means. Spell it. You think that you're gonna land that big punch, but when you're whiffing and when you're missing and you think that big shot's gonna land and then you realize it's not and I'm not there like a ghost, then you're gonna realize real quick that you've signed a check that you can't cash. I'm gonna take all your money and I'm gonna embarrass you.
I like the guy. He looks like a win on my record. He's gonna be swinging it there all night, baby.
But fights are not won and lost on the mic, and when the time came to actually perform, Garbrandt shocked the world by totally outclassing the Dominator, making him miss like he had made so many others miss in the past. It was a surprisingly comfortable win for Cody, and for Cruz, a loss that served as proof of his overconfidence.
Loss is part of life. If you don't have loss, you don't grow. This isn't tough, this is life. All I can say is I lost, and I'll take my loss like a man.
Alistair versus Antonio Silva. Alistair is the type of guy who gives off a certain amount of competitive confidence, and when he stormed to glory in both Strikeforce and also in K1,
Gut-wrenching lead from the ring, he tags him, it's over. Good night, ring.
fan anticipation had reached a high point after his UFC debut, a total demolition job on Brock Lesnar. So when the ream was thrown in there with the veteran Antonio Bigfoot Silva, most fans were pretty confident that this one would be pretty straightforward.
I know I'm a better fighter. Fight will probably end in 1 or 2 rounds. I'm gonna raise my hands after, and he's just gonna be a number on my list. He's a big guy, he's a strong guy. Other than that, shouldn't be too much of a problem. I'm better in the stand-up, I'm better in the ground, I have more knockout wins, more submission wins. I'm better in every aspect, and I'm gonna show that. I have no words for him, I'm just gonna beat him up Saturday, and let that be the end of that.
And Overeem's total dismissiveness of Bigfoot was clearly annoying the Brazilian.
Silva kept pushing up against him and getting in his face closer and closer, so I tried to stop him. And Silva said, you better start respecting me. And then he said, I'm gonna have to destroy you.
So much so that after turning the tide massively to score a huge TKO upset, Silva made sure to gloat over the fallen kickboxer, sealing this win with added style points.
What did you say to Alistair after the knockout?
Get up, I want to fight. Get up, I want to fight.
Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz won. Conor McGregor had just captured featherweight gold 3 months before his supposed lightweight debut in the UFC. But when his scheduled fight with the division's champion, Rafael dos Anjos, fell apart due to an injury from RDA, the always game Nate Diaz stepped up to the plate on short notice, this time for a 170-pound clash.
The show will go on, so who is McGregor going to fight?
He will fight Nate Diaz.
Conor McGregor, you're taking everything I work for, mother. I'm gonna fight your.
We felt this was the fight to make and the fight that the fans wanted to see.
Now, to Conor, the somewhat limited and predictable Nate Diaz was surely not going to cause him any issues.
I'm certainly going to toy with the young boy. I'm going to play with him. His entries and his exits, his retreats, his feints, his patterns are all identical. He can't break out of his set routine, so he is very, very predictable. There's been no adjustment of any kind. It's simply going in as I am.
The only approach I'd change is I dug the grave a little bit wider, a little bit longer for Nate's skinny, fat, long body. I'm going to slap the head off him. It's business as usual. You're just praying you can survive.
He will not be able to handle the ferocity. He will be KO'd
inside the fourth round. Your little gazelle friends are going to be staring through the cage, looking at you, getting your carcass getting eaten alive, and they can do nothing. All they're going to do is say, we're never going to cross this river again.
But on fight night, all of Conor's confidence went down the drain when Nate managed to weather the early storm before turning the tides on the fatigued McGregor to score a second-round submission. Prior to the fight, Conor was on top of the world, but this loss stood as one of MMA's biggest reality checks.
Stings real bad, but this is the fight business. He was very efficient and he took shots well.
Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier 3. And we couldn't let the notorious one off the hook without bringing another infamous example to the table. After Conor McGregor's nice guy persona ended in a TKO loss to Dustin Poirier at UFC 257, a newly resumed beef between the two led to a far more vicious Conor ahead of the trilogy fight.
This is obviously different. It was legitimately last time. It's getting kind of ugly again.
Is that the mindset, enemy, going into this?
Yeah, for sure.
Getting personal for you at this point?
Nah, straight business, man. This is,
You're only a little
He was quick to discount everything Dustin had done well in fight number 2. Instead, he took at Poirier in the most personal way possible, even going after his wife, while promising to bring this rivalry to a comprehensive end in the trilogy fight.
It was a fluke win, and I'm going to correct it on Saturday night. He's getting walked around that octagon like a dog and put to sleep.
He knows it as well as I know it, and it's going to be a butchering. Every shot I have thrown in this camp is a kill shot. I'm going to kill this man.
Win by KO?
KO, out on a stretcher.
Tomorrow night, I'm gonna make this man pay with his life. You're dead in that octagon tomorrow night.
And, well, things went pretty poorly for him. Dustin definitely had more of the success early on. But when Conor's legs snapped beneath him in the dying seconds of round 1, it was one of the biggest karma payback moments in the sport.
This is not over. If we had to take this outside with him, it's all outside. We don't give a
James Vick versus Justin Gaethje. James Vick was a decent prospect in his day, but man, when he started losing, things got bad for him fast. And among his many errors in the sport, antagonizing the great Justin Gaethje was one of the worst decisions he ever made. Calling Gaethje the Homer Simpson of MMA.
I'm not the Homer Simpson of MMA like you are, bro. I'm not going to take a beating, but you will get knocked the out. You take 10 significant strikes per minute. That's 50 shots a round. You ain't lasting 3 rounds of me taking all that beating like that.
Vick seemed confident that his technical skill would prove too much for the battle-tested Gaethje.
Honestly, I don't think he's a world-class fighter. He doesn't have world-class skill set, and I think he's going to be exposed. And I just don't think I don't even think he's a top 10 fighter in the UFC. I'm going to land something big, and I'm going to knock him out.
That's your last main event. You're about to be on a 3-fight losing streak and shipping your ass back to the B leagues to fight tomato cans again. You're a can crusher. You're a can crusher, bro. You padded your record against B-level competition. You are going to get slept. You're going to get knocked out within 3 rounds for sure.
Unfortunately for him, Justin caught him with a nuclear-charged overhand punch, sending him crashing to the canvas for a first-round KO. It was a comeback win for the highlight and one of the best one-punch knockouts you'll ever see.
You put him to sleep? I mean, how good does it feel right now?
Oh, it feels amazing, man. He talked a lot. Yeah, you know, this is a painful way to go out.
Is that a humbling experience? What's that like to take that loss on such a spotlight? It was depressing, obviously, losing. It was more about the opportunity I blew, you know.
Michael Johnson versus Justin Gaethje. Speaking of people who rattled Gaethje's cage, how about the fight that made him a star? After signing with the UFC in 2017, Justin Gaethje was expected to have a decent impact. But when his debut opponent Michael Johnson started jawing at him in the media,
he takes way too much damage, man. He sits in there and has wars with these guys. His career is not going to last that long.
Especially during their pre-fight press conference.
Eat you up for dinner, boy. Save nothing for leftovers.
It became clear that this was turning into a grudge match.
I'm not here to welcome guys from the C League in here, you know, but at the same time, yeah, of course, I'm going to welcome him into the UFC, and it's not going to be a good night for him. I'm not trying to beat him. I'm not trying to win by decision or a point. I'm literally going to try to take this man's life. If you're not ready to die, don't show up.
I am ready to die.
I'm telling you right now, that's breaking my mind.
Breaking
you're in a
piece by
night,
piece.
Boy.
Artistically breaking you.
I eat my whole. I don't fucking take piece by piece. We're gonna bang, don't get it wrong, but you're out of your league on this one, buddy.
Johnson took over early, but somehow Justin Gaethje weathered the storm, eventually scoring a stunning KO in the second round. An all-time great debut win, and one hell of a way to shut your rival up.
I broke him. Said I was gonna break him, I broke him.
Him coming over, I wanted to give him a fight, and I think I gave him a pretty good one.
Ben Askren versus Jorge Masvidal. Has there ever been a more radical personality clash in MMA than the one shared by Ben Askren and Jorge Jorge Masvidal, you just couldn't find two polar opposites quite like these guys. And through all the buildup, Ben did absolutely everything in his power to try to demean and belittle the intelligence of Masvidal.
He's an idiot. He's so dumb.
If George comes up and gets in your face, do you think it could get physical before the fight?
Yeah, he's that dumb. They need to keep the idiot away from me.
While also going on about how he'd dominate the fight.
There is no way on God's green earth this guy could do anything to me. It's totally impossible.
How do you beat him?
Any way I want.
How do you think?
I dominate him whole time. I will do whatever I want to this person. I will dominate them. I will humiliate them. His muscles aren't very big and his beard's pretty ugly. But besides that, I think it's going to be total domination.
Jorge did hit back with a few good lines of his own, but the real punishment was saved for when the actual fighting began. Masvidal didn't waste any time playing around, as he countered the wrestler's takedown attempt with a rapid flying knee, and then a pair of super necessary follow-up shots for good measure.
People say the punches weren't really necessary. Maybe
they were super necessary.
It was the fastest KO in the history of the UFC, and quite possibly the coldest knockout we've ever seen.
You know, apparently I guess I set a record of some sort. I was like, oh, I lost to George Masvidal. This freaking sucks. I don't like George at all, but that was a damn good flying knee.
Joanna Jędrzejczyk versus Rose Namajunas won. On paper, Joanna Jędrzejczyk versus Rose Namajunas seemed like a pretty sizable mismatch. And who can blame Joanna for being unaware of Rose Namajunas' striking threat? After all, Joanna was the Muay Thai champion of the two. All throughout fight week, Joanna was highly dismissive of Thug Rose.
I think you cannot be the champion because you just can't do this. You can't deal with the media. You cannot deal with the pressure. It's too much for you.
You know what? I didn't take your soul. You don't know about being a champion. You're never gonna be a champion. Believe me, I'm taking your soul with me. Okay.
You are not stronger mentally. You are mentally unstable, and you are broken already. And I will break you in the fight.
I will retire in the future as undefeated. I have this chance. I have this opportunity, and I will make this happen.
And during their pre-fight stare-down, she made constant attempts to get into Rose's head, while the challenger very ominously recited the Lord's Prayer.
You keep talking to her. What are you saying to her?
I'm just saying the Lord's Prayer. Boogie Woman is coming tomorrow. Boogie Woman is coming for you, Rose.
And when fight night came, Rose's movement was instantly a problem for the champion. And when she scored an early knockdown, before eventually causing Joanna to tap out due to strikes, it was clear that we had just witnessed a harsh lesson in never overlooking your opponent.
Fill in the blank right now. Rose is feeling what?
Rose is grateful. Did she overlook me? She could have maybe not expected my striking to be so fluid and elusive.
She surprised me with the punch, which knocked me down.
Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa. Israel Adesanya and Paulo Costa were just two guys who never seemed like they were gonna get along.
I feel as if there's genuine animosity between you two. Like, you guys don't get along at all.
Even before fight week, this matchup was already setting up to be a pretty heated grudge match.
He's personal to me. I don't want just become winner. I want hurt him badly.
Paulo Costa was more than confident that he'd basically run through the champion. And there were many people who saw his hard-nosed, brawling style as a potentially interesting matchup for the last style bender.
Adesanya is nothing. Adesanya is the most shameful champion I have seen ever. I will hit him very badly and he will cry like a baby. I will destroy him. I will hit him so badly. I can kill that guy. He's very skinny. He not have a chance against me.
But when the time came for the cage doors to close and the actual fighting to begin, Costa was a shell of himself. Eventually, he fell to a TKO in the second round. Costa would try to explain this one away by claiming that he had drank a half a bottle of red wine the night before in an effort to sleep, but there's no getting around it. This was an all-time bad title fight performance, a showing that totally contrasted with his pre-fight aggression.
In every fight we've seen leading up to this, he gets aggressive. Did you expect more coming from him?
I just felt his energy. I knew, take my time. Energy never lies, and I could feel him, and I knew that he wasn't about that life.
Eddie Alvarez versus Conor McGregor. When Eddie Alvarez got the call to take on the great Conor McGregor, he had more than enough in-cage experience under his belt.
Oh, big hit! That's it! This fight is over!
As a champion in every promotion he had competed in at that point, the Underground King was a veteran in every sense of the word. Or at least that's what he thought when he signed on the dotted line.
I would ask Dana White, please, to give me an easier fight like Conor McGregor. I've been fighting the best guys, so I would like a gimme fight.
As it turned out, fighting Conor was not like fighting any other matchup.
Come on, Eddie, you've been over in Japan or some shit.
You've been fighting bums all your life. You've never been on this stage. You've never been against a guy like me. You're an absolute bum.
And though he tried to engage in the trash talk pre-fight, his attempts didn't really land.
I want an apology for saying my wife and kids.
Suck these big Irish balls.
You ain't got a shot. Your coach knows you ain't got a shot. And anybody who knows anything about fighting knows you ain't got a shot. You're here because you're the easiest dude in this division. That's why you're here. He's not a championship fighter. He's never been. Come November 12th, you guys will see.
Give us your thoughts on this fight and what it means to defend your title for the first time.
I'm going to silence everyone. Goddamn you, mother.
And when the time came to fight, it just seemed like he had none of that usual Eddie Alvarez aggression. And as Conor picked him apart, it became clear that Alvarez was out of his depth. The TKO followed, and to be honest, it wasn't even close.
The speed and timing were very good. You could tell, he's got years of boxing behind him. He did a phenomenal job, and he continues to do a good job for the sport of MMA.
As always, if you guys enjoyed the video, please be sure to let us know by giving it a like and hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing. As always, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.